In the NBA, the center position has a rich and varied legacy, from the early domination of George Mikan to the athleticism of the great Bill Russell to the sheer power of Wilt Chamberlain to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a near-perfect blend of size and finesse. Great centers have always had an undeniable aura, and the search for a dominant big man has often been seen as the key to success in the NBA.
The New York Knicks select Patrick Ewing.
Entering the league as a celebrated top lottery pick, Patrick Ewing was expected to be the next in this long line of outstanding centers. And while Ewing has endured and delivered consistent all-star years, championships have eluded the Knicks. Now, Ewing finds himself challenged by a younger, bigger man, for at the tender age of 20, Shaquille O'Neal is taking the league by storm, and in his rookie season, he easily surpassed Ewing in the All-Star voting. O'Neal will supplant Ewing as the East starting center next week, and as the two men go head-to-head, will Ewing look to prove he's been prematurely overlooked, or will Shaq treat the older man the same way he treats backboards? Find out now. It's the NBA on Screen Sport. And welcome to Orlando. New York Knicks against the Orlando Magic. I'm Mike Carlson, with me the redoubtable Alton Bird. And last time these two teams met, the game ended with Patrick Ewing complaining about a no call and Orlando getting a close win. Do you expect the same thing this week, Alton?
Well, these are two very evenly matched teams. This is a quickly maturing Orlando team. New York, coached by Pat Riley, one of the best records in the NBA. But believe me, Orlando's made huge strides this season so far.
And it's not a one-man team at all. Shaquille O'Neal has a bit of help in Nick Anderson and Scott Skiles.
Well, he certainly does. And remember, this is a team that hasn't played with Dennis Scott lately, you know. Good team.
Now, for the Knicks, they keep other teams under 100 points a game regularly. When they can go over 100 points a game, they've got a really good chance of winning.
Well, that's always been the hallmark of Pat Riley teams. They have been great defensive teams. There you see Patrick Ewing's statistics, 29 points in the last 5 games, 12 boards, more importantly, 56% from the floor. That's
now, over the long term, when they have to go to Patrick a lot, the Knicks have suffered. His knees, maybe nowadays, he's getting old, they can't take it so much.
Well, I don't believe that. I think Patrick is still the premier marquee center in the NBA. He's got some company, though, with this young man.
And you see the boy wonder, Shaquille O'Neal at the age of 20. They're gushing about him in Orlando. Let's look at the starting lineups. John Starks, they'll look for some offense from him, especially from the 3 points. Greg Anthony's got a lot of talent, but his judgment as a point guard sometimes questioned. Charles Oakley, the power forward. Charles Smith, still not happy at that small forward position. And of course, Ewing, the center. The Knicks will look to get more offense from the rest of the lineup, not bring it down, toss it into Patrick.
Well, certainly, this is a very balanced team. And remember, this is a team that beat Chicago last week. So Pat Riley knows his team very well.
On the other side, there's the two guards, Skiles and Nick Anderson. Anderson, an explosive offensive player. Tom Tolbert and Anthony Bowie will be the forwards, and there's where the Knicks may be able to capitalize.
May not, though, but certainly they can't capitalize with the big fella, the big Shaq, 7'1" of them, and Matty Guokas has done a phenomenal job in helping this young team mature very, very quickly. It helps to have Shaquille O'Neal in your lineup as well.
And Orlando has shown they can do it both ways, with Shaquille dominating the entire game, or with Shaquille just playing the rebound block shot role and letting some of the other players carry the scoring load.
I really wouldn't mind having Shaquille O'Neal just rebounding and blocking shots on my team, believe me. And they've, you know, remember, Dennis Scott, Skiles has done an excellent job. Nick Anderson, This is a good, solid, balanced team.
Scott Skiles, one of the all-time great trash talkers when he played at Michigan State, going past the Georgetown bench, he looked at John Thompson and said, if you're such a great defensive coach, how come no one on your team can stop me?
Not the man you want to insult either, John Thompson, 6'10", 300 pounds worth.
Okay, let's go courtside. Our announcers are Marv Albert and Mike Fratello.
Orlando comes off a Thursday night loss in Charlotte, 116-107. Their previous game last Wednesday, they beat Cleveland to surpass their victory total of all of last season. Charles Smith getting down low and just got a piece of the net, but it was knocked out of bounds by the Magic.
A big size advantage there at the small forward position for New York. Smith going over the top of Nick Anderson.
Now Ewing drawing the double team. Smith is open. And it will be Orlando ball. Charles Smith has had his ups and downs this year in his first year with the Knicks, coming over in the deal with the LA Clippers. Went through training camp bothered by knee problems, not in proper shape, at least Pat Riley type shape. Here's Bowie pitching back out. Skiles for three. And the rebound handled by Ewing. Then Charles Smith worked his way back into the starting lineup after Tony Campbell did not fare well, although Campbell has played well recently. Here is Anthony, and the Knicks with a 2-0 lead. Smith did okay for a while and then went into a funk. Recently he's been hit by the flu, and he's trying to shoot his way out of it. Had a good one against Chicago on Friday.
It's interesting to hear Pat Riley talk about Smith and how they've tried to develop him in the small forward position. Riley knows his most natural spot is the power forward position. Down the road, maybe 80-20 split, 80% of the time at the power forward. But right now, he wants him in there at the small forward spot.
Charles Oakley has been shooting efficiently recently. He went a long time without even looking for shots. He was passing up layups at one stretch.
I mentioned to him prior to the game, hey, the jump shot's back again. He said the jump shot never was gone. He said, I just wasn't taking it. He said, it's trying to understand where I fit into this half-court offense.
All right, here's O'Neal. The power move by Shaquille. So the Knicks with a 4-2 lead.
If you let Shaquille that close to the basket, there is nothing you can do about it once he catches it.
Ewing, yes. Patrick Ewing giving the Knicks a 6-2 lead. Both Patrick Ewing and Shaquille O'Neal hit with a touch of a flu recently. Shaquille feeling around for Ewing, and he drew the foul. It's an offensive foul, and a technical foul has been called. A technical foul indicated by Joe Crawford.
Foul on number 32, Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, apparently Shaquille had something to say.
Shaquille had made his move to the middle. The Knicks turned them back to the baseline. They were coming on a double, even triple team against the big center. He had nowhere to go, lowered that shoulder and tried to find some space. Starts middle, they force him back baseline. Ewing holds his ground, and then he drives that right shoulder through. After the foul was called, the reaction by Shaquille earns him an early technical foul. So he picks up a personal and a technical.
However, John Starks not able to take advantage. The Knicks with a 6-2 lead. Ewing with a back tap handled by Skiles. Here's Tom Tolbert, who's had the hot hand recently. Lays it down to O'Neal. Shaquille was stopped. And it will be Nick Ball. Let's go over to Amar.
All right, Marv, on that last foul on Shaquille O'Neal, in the warm-ups, he was showing the official, Joey Crawford, that move, and Joey told him at that point that would be a foul, and he followed through and called the foul.
Yes, Joey, always a man of his word. And a foul once again. That's number 2 on Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, in the mismatch, Charles Smith caught the much smaller defensive player, trying to front them down low. Now it's a matter of the lob pass going up over the top, the rotation a little bit late that time coming over. Charles Smith goes to the foul line. An early decision for Matt Kukas. Do you leave Shaquille on like he did last week against Phoenix? Well, against Phoenix, the second foul didn't come this early in the game.
And Greg Kite will replace Shaquille O'Neal. Picks up the 2 earlier. Greg Kite 10-year man from Brigham Young. Shaquille sitting down, 1 of 3 from the field and 2 fouls. The Knicks, not a strong free throw shooting team, and they have missed their first 3 from the line, although they did well at the foul line against the Bulls on Friday, 28 of 34.
I was interested to see who Matt Guokas came with, whether you go with Kite, the experienced, bigger, stronger player, or since Brian Williams has been activated today, would he give him an early shot?
Yes, Brian Williams, who had been on the injury list for a good portion of the season, has been reactivated. That's an offensive foul. Ewing called for his first.
Well, you can mark this as a 1-up right now. 1 offensive foul for Shaquille, 1 offensive foul for Patrick Ewing. He tries the quick drop step. Tolbert there in position. A little bit of an acting job, but even it up. 1-1 offensive foul.
Here's Nick Anderson. So the Knicks with a 6-4 lead. Dennis Scott is now on the injury list with that sprained right calf muscle, opening the spot for Brian Williams. Williams had been hospitalized during the summer due to diagnosed clinical depression. Recently cleared by team doctors. Begin practicing, and he's back on the squad, although perhaps not ready to play. Skiles diving for it, and it was deflected out of bounds. Last touched by the Knicks. The sheer hustle of Scott Skiles, who certainly has been putting the minutes in recently. He's had 8 48-minute games.
Well, he has had 8 games over 48 minutes, and in fact, he has 1 at 53 minutes this year.
Charles Smith with the rejection. Anthony very close to a palm, setting up Starks. Smith able to use the mismatch with Anderson here in the early going. 7.5 remaining, first quarter. The Knicks with the ball and a 6-4 lead on the Magic. Ewing and Bowie with the rebound. The matchup continues. Smith and Anderson. Ewing came out to help, and the Magic could not take advantage.
A few seconds ago, Patrick Ewing turned to John Starks and said, just play ball, stop all the talk out here on the floor. So Starks, who has been known to do a little bit of trash talking, Ewing taking the leadership role and letting them know, look, we don't need that right now, just play basketball.
Nice pass, Smith for Starks. Yes, it was earlier this season that Pat Riley was very upset with the trash talking and some of the strutting on the court of John Starks and Greg Anthony and Anthony Mason, and he benched all 3. In fact, all 3 missed the first meeting of the season between these 2 clubs. It gave playing opportunity to Charles Smith, and he was able to convert a season high of 24 points in that earlier game against Orlando. Well, as we discussed at the start, the Knicks have been a very aggressive, grind-out style ball club. There are some coaches around the NBA who feel that the Knicks foul on every play. And I asked Pat Riley to address that charge.
Our team plays hard, and they take pride in playing hard. And we also know that because of the aggressiveness, that we're going to get more fouls per game. And so we know going in that we're going to probably be 5 or 6 fouls on the minus side than the opposition. We don't complain about it. I mean, we're going to play hard every single night, and I think other people are just getting to the point where they don't like that kind of play every single night, and so they complain about it to try to get an edge from the officials. I understand that mentality too, but it's not going to stop us from playing hard.
It's their style of play. They're going to dictate it with their defense, and they come at you night after night. That's what they pride themselves in. There are a lot of guys that want some easy nights out there at the offensive end. It's not happening against New York.
34, Greg Kite.
Foul committed.
His first and second team foul
on Greg Kite, and it will be Nick Ball. It's the Knicks 8 and the Magic 4 with 6.5 remaining in this first quarter. It was Phil Jackson of the Chicago Bulls among several who made the statement that, hey, the Knicks foul on every play, so the officials can only make some of the calls.
But Pat Riley also credits the other coaches with just trying to gain the edge, something that he tries to do in playing with the media as well.
And a foul call on the Knicks.
34,
It's on Charles Oakley. That's his first. Ironically, when Pat Riley was coaching the Los Angeles Lakers to championship seasons, he had a finesse.